الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل له فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله عليه وسلم أما بعد فإنك الحديث كتاب الله وكالهدى هدى محمد وشر الأمور محدثاتها وكل بدعة ضلالة. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون. O Allah, in your name we praise thee, we praise thee, we look at you, all praise is due to you, we submit to you, and we accept your Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam as your last universal messenger. And O Allah, we bear witness to this truth. And O Allah, we put nothing in front of you. You are in charge, and we accept your commands. Allah, you have said in the Quran, and we always begin by saying, I seek refuge with Allah against the accursed devil, shaitan, and rejected enemy. With Allah's name, the merciful benefactor, the merciful redeemer. Indeed, Allah orders justice and good conduct in giving to relatives and forbids immorality and bad conduct and oppression. He admonishes you that you perhaps will be reminded. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says it over and over and over again. Justice is very important for Muslims. We believe in justice. We believe that we should have good character and that we should have good conduct. We believe that immorality is not what we should be about, and we should not be about bad conduct, and we should abhor oppression. Now, our people, African American people, have been oppressed for many, many years, have been oppressed, was made slaves, and were looked at as being not human at all, looked at as being actually less than a horse, a cow, a dog, or a pig. We were treated less than those animals. But today, dear beloved audience, today is Juneteenth. Juneteenth. And what does Juneteenth mean? What does it commemorate? Juneteenth commemorates African American freedom and emphasizes education and achievement. It is a day, a week, in some areas a whole month, marked with celebrations, guest speakers, picnics, and family gatherings. It is a time of reflection and rejoicing. It is a time for us to make assessment, a time for self-improvement, and for planning the future. Now I'm reminded of where I came from. I came from New York City. I come from Harlem. And in Harlem we have the famous Malcolm Shabazz Masjid. Now I applaud them because every single year they celebrate Juneteenth. And all of the Muslims get in African garb and they march. And they celebrate Juneteenth. Juneteenth is also known as Freedom Day, Jubilee Day, and Liberation Day. It is an American holiday separated annually on June 19th. Today, it commemorates June 19th, 1865, when the Union General Gordon Granger read federal orders in Galveston, Texas. And he said that all previously enslaved people in Texas were free. After being enslaved for so long, he said, now you're free. So it marks the day when the federal troops arrived in Galveston, Texas in 1865 to take control of the state and to ensure that all enslaved people be freed. The troops' arrival came a full 2.5 years after the signing of the Emancipation Proclamation. Juneteenth honors the end to slavery in the United States and is considered the longest running African American holiday. Confederate General Robert E. Lee had surrendered at Appomattox Courthouse 2 months earlier in Virginia. But slavery had remained relatively unaffected in Texas. Unaffected in Texas until the United States General Gordon Granger, stood on Texan soil and read the General Orders Number 3. The people of Texas are informed that in accordance with a proclamation from the Executive of the United States, all slaves are free. That was a powerful moment for people who had been under oppression, for people who had been made slaves for so many years. The Emancipation Proclamation, issued by President Abraham Lincoln on January 1st, 1863, had established that all enslaved people in Confederate states in rebellion against the Union shall be thenceforward and forever free. Now, after saying that, I have to say this. If you go back, we always talk about the founding fathers and what they said. But if you go back and you look at these presidents that we had, many of them had slaves. And a whole lot of them, believe me, they were not thinking about African Americans when they put this Constitution together. They did not or were not thinking about us. In fact, many of them had to say what they wanted us to do is be free and go home. What was home? Home is Africa. They wanted to send us back to Africa because they didn't want us mixing with the whites. This is history. Here's another piece. The Emancipation Proclamation didn't instantly free any slaves. The proclamation only applied to places under Confederate control and not to slave holding border states or rebel areas already under Union control. However, as Northern troops advanced into the Confederate South, many slaves fled behind Union lines. Juneteenth and slavery in Texas. In Texas, slavery had continued as the state experienced no large-scale fighting or significant presence of Union troops. Many slave owners from outside the Lone Star State viewed it as a safe haven and had moved there with their slave, thinking they were going to get away, right? After the war came to a close in the spring of 1865, General Granger's arrival in Galveston that June signaled freedom for Texas' 250,000 slaves. Although emancipation didn't happen overnight for everyone, in some cases, slave owners withheld the information until after harvest season. They wanted to make sure they get their crops before they set these people free, right? That's what they wanted. Celebrations broke out among the newly freed black people, and Juneteenth was born. That December, slavery in America was formally abolished with the adoption of the 13th Amendment. The year following, 1865, freedmen in Texas organized the first of what became the annual celebrations of Jubilee Day on June 19th. In the ensuing decades, Juneteenth commemorations featured music, barbecues, prayer services, and other activities. And as black people migrated from Texas to other parts of the country, the Juneteenth tradition spread. In 1979, Texas became the first state to make Juneteenth an official holiday. An official holiday. Now today, 47 states, I think it should be 48 now, recognize Juneteenth as a state holiday. while efforts to make it a national holiday have so far stalled in Congress. Now we know that they're talking about it right now, that might be something that we see. Now, you got to think about this for a minute, because we get some people, they lose it. They lose their intelligence. I heard Mitch McConnell say that we paid for the sin of slavery by electing Obama, Barack Obama. That's crazy. That is so silly. That is so ignorant that he would make a statement like that. And he was the same one out of the other side of his mouth that said, yes, he's in position, but every single thing that he do, we're going to block it. Remember that? He blocked every single thing that Barack Obama tried to put into place. Now, for those who come from New York, on the 17th of June, 2020, Governor Andrew Cuomo, by executive order, declared Juneteenth as a recognized paid holiday in New York State. And I say, alhamdulillah, Allahu Akbar for that, which means that people, they're working, they can take that day off. A lot of people say, oh man, we already gave them something. We got Martin Luther King Day. Are you kidding me right now? Martin Luther King Day represents other things, but Juneteenth is powerful because it represents the time when we had thrown off the yoke of oppression. We were no longer considered slaves. Now, when you look at the history, you see that ever since that time, we've been battling folk. Because you had individuals that didn't like the idea that we were no longer slaves. And more than that, they didn't like the idea that now we could be looked at as being equal to them. Those people did not want to see us as being equal, and so they began to put things together so that they would have the racist agenda. The racist agenda, so they would always look at us as though there was something wrong with us and not them. They look at us as though we are not, or we can't be compared to them, that they are the best and we are the worst. That's a lie that they told. Race itself is a whole lie. That construct is something that they came up with. We represent the human family. And in fact, when you start thinking about creation, it says that Adam was created from mud, from black mud fashioned into shape. So really, when you talk about your roots, people, your roots are black. So to look at it and look down on it to make it seem like there's something wrong with us, it speaks to your inferiority complex. But because you had an inferiority complex, you put certain things in place and made it a part of the system, made it a part of institutions to support your idea that was always a false idea. So you had this superiority complex, and you begin to feed us, meaning African American people, certain ideas to make us think that we were not as good as white folks. Yeah, you gave us the Nordic standard of beauty. So people didn't like the hair. They didn't like the way their nose looked. They didn't like the way their lips looked. Allah created this. So we should be able to love what Allah created, but they put that false idea out there and made it seem like we were inferior. I said this before. If given the opportunity, like any other people, we all start from the same place, you begin to see how African Americans would rise. Every single sport that you can think of, when an African American got into that sport, they excelled. Is that right? They excelled. So what are you talking about, you better than somebody? I was listening to a young brother the other day, and he was talking about all of these developments that we have today. GPS, huh? All of these developments that we have were developed by African American people. So you want to say, no, it's ours. No, but I know what happened. I know what happened in IBM. I know what happened in those corporations when you began to work for them. They told you that every idea that you have is no longer your idea. As long as you're part of this company, it belongs to us. I've talked to elders who felt so much pain because they knew that they had come up with the idea but never got credit for it. So when you look at the situation, you see that they have always tried to hurt us. Now I'm going to tell you something. Even when they wounded us, even when they put something on us to try to hold us back, and we're in this race to survive, or this race to succeed, we still succeeded, and they still had a problem with that, even though they tried to block us. You see? Think about it for a minute. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala didn't make a mistake when he made us different. But he wanted us to all be different to the extent that we begin to know each other, not look at each other and say, well, he or she is different from me. I'm better than him because I'm lighter and he's darker. No. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants us to begin to reflect on people being in different places, people having certain skills or certain areas that were unique to them. Like you have individuals that were into architectural design, people into building, construction, these kinds of things. People into cuisine. All of these are things that exist. That if you come together with all of these different nations or tribes or people, now whatever we had is expanded because we were able to take in some more. Take in some more. Our conveners, the conveners of Imams, in association with the community of Imam Salahuddin Muhammad Rahimullah Lake, put out a statement recently. And this statement said, America, Beauty, and the Beast, the next chapter. And they used verses from the Quran that said, I call to witness this land, and you are a citizen of this land. And what will explain the path that is steep? It is the freeing a neck. And they're saying the neck, freeing the neck means taking that oppression off of you, taking that idea of you being better than me, taking that off, taking look, I'm excited. That's why I'm struggling with my words here, because I'm excited on this Juneteenth day. Get out of this situation where you always on us. There's two realities in the American experience, the beautiful and the beast. You know, we've heard that expression. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That's the Declaration of Independence. Now, I told you, when they put this together, they were not thinking about us. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is in charge. So he guided the hands, because he knew that there would come a time when we would have to get that, and they can't keep it away from us. He said, we the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity. Do establish this Constitution for the United States of America. And that's the preamble to the United States Constitution. Yeah. Think about this for a minute. The painful and tireless efforts of countless American change agents that have been inspired and guided by the above-cited ideals to continuously transform our collective life to conform more closely with the founding aspirations. Listen about our history. 400-year history of enslavement, torture, oppression, and dehumanization of African peoples based on a system of white supremacy, enveloping every institution of American life, including the establishment of the 245-year institution of American chattel slavery, crimes against humanity, cultural genocide, forced captivity, forced family separations, wanton rapes, tortures, and the execution of captive slaves. Now I know a lot of times people say, oh, why don't y'all thinking about that, always talking about that. Why don't y'all let it go? Do you ever ask the Jewish people to let it go? When they say never again, do you ever say to them, stop talking about what happened to you in Germany? No, you don't. So stop telling us to not think about what you did to us, because what you did to us was wrong. It was wrong on every level. And I don't even want to get into all of the things that happened because it's too bloody. I mean, you think about it for a minute. Wiping out a person's culture, language, taking their families and separating them. The children are born and taking them away and beginning to fill their minds with negativity, fill their minds with what you want them to think. This is what we have to endure. We have to endure all this for all those years. But even in our enduring it, I don't think you could. I don't think you could have endured that. But some of you are afraid that we want to put you in that, but that's not our way. That is not our way. We're not trying to come back at people to do what you did to us, to you. We're not about that. But just think about it for a minute. We're not going to give it up because what you did was absolutely wrong. Now you have people say, oh, that happened a long time. It sure did. And look what's continuing to happen. Instead of allowing us to really enjoy freedom, you put all of these conditions, all of these systems in place to thwart us from letting the best of ourselves come out. Vote an unequal, unfair system of justice. Excessive policing and police brutality. Yes, Black Lives Matter. And for those people who say all lives matter, you're right. I live in a place that has 2 subdivisions. There are over 500 homes in these 2 subdivisions. Beautiful homes. But this home is on fire. The other homes are not. So is the fire truck coming to the other homes or coming to my home? Think about it for a minute. Think about it for a minute. You're coming to the home that's on fire, and that's to put that fire out, and it doesn't mean that the other homes are not important. Is that right or wrong? Right. That is correct. Voter suppression. Here we can't even vote. If we're voting, they put other blocks up to stop us from voting. So you see, it's a system, a racist system, a racist idea that we have to get rid of. So I'm happy that we have Juneteenth. I'm happy that people are recognizing that this is something that we should celebrate. I'm happy that different states are acknowledging this and they have made it a holiday, a state holiday. And I'm looking for it to be a national holiday. It's important. And a person can say, oh, well, no, we lose too much money. Heck, we done lost a whole lot of money because of COVID-19. And what you saying about that, Captain? What you saying about that? So one day, to celebrate this, to really come back and say, look, this is the righteous thing to do because we have really hurt these people. And we have done it over and over and over again. So now it's time to repent, America. White America, it's time to repent and allow for certain things to happen naturally. Recognize that we are all dignified, honorable human beings. And nobody's better than anybody else because of the tone of the color of their skin. Nobody. Now, people who have a problem with that, you need to check yourself. You need to go dig deep within yourselves to take out of yourselves whatever ugly stone is in there that make you have a problem with understanding where we're coming from. You can say, oh, well, I've never been like that. Think about it again. Check yourself, sister. Check yourself, brother. I'm saying brother and sister because we all come from the same mother and father. Adam and Eve is the first man, first woman. All of us come from there. That's my belief. Those of you who say you're Christian, that's your belief too. Those of you who say you're Jewish, that's your belief too. So why are we having all this pain? Because you've taken on this racist idea That's why we have all this pain. You want to have white supremacy. We got to get rid of it. Now here's a message for those, and we're calming down. We're shutting it down in a few minutes. For those people who feel like, why are they trying to mess with these statues and these monuments, etc.? Why don't they just leave that alone? Let's just deal with the problem. That's part of the problem. Because every time a person that's racist sees that monument, it reinforces that negative, false idea. But if you take it out, you remove it, now the only thing that they have is what's in themselves, and that's what they have to work with. There's nothing outside of themselves that will reinforce that false idea of white supremacy. Now, I'm going to go to our religious people. And I think every pastor, I don't care if you're in a white church or a black church, every pastor that still has a statue of a white Jesus, you need to get rid of it. Because that has been the problem that exists within our community. We've had this white Jesus, we say this is God, or we say this is the Son of God. So now people who don't look like that, they look at themselves as being inferior, and everybody who looks like that looked at themselves as being superior. So it's time to remove that. And when we remove that, there's nothing to reinforce that false negative idea. And they just have to work on themselves. That's what people need to do. So again, happy Juneteenth. I'm happy to celebrate Juneteenth with you. And the fight goes on, the struggle goes on. The freedom struggle has been going on for a long time. And we're not about to stop. African Americans are people who have substance. And when I think of African American people, I think of somebody just laying concrete all over the place. And that blade of grass shooting right up out of the concrete. Tried to stop it, but there was no way that you can stop it because the will to be free is so strong. I thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for blessing me to be able to bring this message to you today. And I say to you, if you have any questions, this is the time to ask your questions. I thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for blessing me to be on point in terms of bringing this out. You know, some people think because we're Muslims, we don't celebrate certain things. Yeah, we celebrate Juneteenth. Look, I'm a Muslim, but I'm African American. I'm African American. I can't deny that. I can't get up in the morning and say I'm not African American. I get up in the morning, African American. I go to bed at night, African American. I can't deny that. You had some people that was able to hide. I was talking to a brother recently, happened to be Caucasian, and he has actually some Filipino background, but he was saying that he was able to kind of move and nobody mess with him or bother him because he was able to fit in. We can't fit in. So stop trying. Be yourself. Be who you are. Be who Allah blessed you to be. Allah created you to be a dignified, honorable human being. Be that. And be the best that you can be. As I always say, make your good better and your better best. Yes?
This is Yasmin from North Carolina. I have a quick question. My question is, how did Juneteenth start?
Okay. So I basically just said that, what happened.
As in
As an 8-year-old can understand.
Okay. So it happened around the time of 1865 when, of course, you know, there was a civil war, and you'll learn this in school. There was a civil war, and the Union won. The Confederates did not win. And so we have the proclamation, Emancipation Proclamation, and we have the orders from the President of the United States, and they said that no longer will there be slaves. Slavery is ended. So it started in 1865, and now we have people that have been celebrating it for years. And Texas was like a state that was behind the times.
Okay.
Oh, wait.
Rashad Abdul Muhammad from Raleigh, North Carolina asked, do you think that there is a new movement of human consciousness on the scene?
I believe so. I believe that. I really believe there's a new movement in human consciousness. I believe that more and more people of every background, of every race, of every ethnicity see the harm that has been done for so many years because of white supremacy and the systemic racism that exists in all our institutions or systems. So yes, I see it rising in people, and I don't believe it's going to go away. And I see a lot of people now recognizing it, and they want to try to stay in step. So you could say, well, why are they talking about trying to deflect us from thinking about the police, and they're talking about Aunt Jemima and Uncle Ben and all of that? No, they ain't deflecting anything. We on target. We know that we want this whole policing thing to be corrected, okay? But there's other things that could happen as well. So if they want to change, if CPI apologizes and wants to change from a statement they have made, let them. If the people who are in charge of Aunt Jemima decide that no longer will we use that actually speaks to racial stereotyping, they want to get rid of that, let them. Again, take away all of those symbols that reinforce that negative idea, and then the people are left with just having to deal with themselves. Yes, I hope I answered your question. And thank you. All right, so alhamdulillah, I appreciate you, love you, and I pray Allah protects you. And until next time, we say to you, yours in firm faith, human connection. May Allah bless you. Subhanaka Allahumma wa bihamdika. Ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta. Astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Wal asr innal insana lafi khusr. Illa alladhina amanu wa amilus solihati wa tawassaw bil haqq wa tawassaw bis sabr. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Wa alaikum